Hello and welcome to Our Waking Dream. I am your host, Coco Swanson. I'm a forever seeker. I'm a spiritual strategist and a mentor, and I've created this show for you. If you're curious about astrology, how astrology creates a map in your life that allows for you to know where to apply practices of wisdom traditions, contemplative practices, energy healing, journal exercises. I spend the first half of the show explaining the astrological themes, ideally in a way that will land, even though it's like explaining a foreign language. And I spend the second half of this show going over different contemplative questions and practices that you can integrate the themes into your life for the most power, the most flow, and the most alignment with your intentions. So this week is in the middle of our holiday season. So we're right before the new calendar year. So happy holidays. And this year, every year, we move into Capricorn season, which we did, about a week ago. And the sun right now is in a little sandwich in Capricorn between Venus and between Mars. So we'll be focusing on Capricorn a bit today, which, to be honest, is a nice change for me because I've been focusing so much on mutable signs, change, Pisces, and Sagittarius, whereas now we are focusing on cardinal signs, signs that begin things, which is appropriate right here on the eve of the new year. This said, our astrological new year doesn't start until March. This year we'll get a real kickstart come mid-February, when both Neptune and Saturn move into Aries. So I preface this. This is the eve of the new year. However, in astrology, the January new year is still deep in winter. So there's still this energy of needing to cocoon and to allow things to move out and rearrange. So we won't be suggesting a kickstart, just go out and get them come January. Instead, I'll be suggesting a more introspective, caring, so Cancer, Capricorn approach to your new year. Let me explain what I mean by that. So we have between the 28th and the 3rd is a time to prepare for a full moon. In preparation for either a new moon or a full moon, I always look at the signature, the themes that are going on in that moon. This full moon implies that the moon is opposing the sun. Whenever we have an opposition, we want to take into consideration the metaphor that's contained within each of the polarities, both in this case, Capricorn, which the sun, moon, and Venus are in, and Cancer, which the moon is in, but also we have retrograde Jupiter in Cancer. And it's been retrograde for a good minute, and it will still be retrograde through January. And so when something's retrograde, we revisit, relook at, reconsider everything within its theme. So it merits looking at Cancer with a more from a place of review. What does that mean? So the Cancer Capricorn axis, just meaning two sides of the zodiac, the axis, AXIS. It's about care. So Cancer is about how are you cared for? How are you nurtured? How do you feel like you belong? Or how are you not cared for? How do you not feel like you belong? How do you not care for others? Okay, so it's about care, nurturing. It's the moon's sign. It's love and nurturing. It's the womb. It's the mother. That's Cancer. But then we have Capricorn. It's the opposite sign. So if Cancer is the place of womb and of nurturing and of mom, of the motherhood, the opposite is actually, it's father time. It's Capricorn. It's how we bring and build legacy and stewardship to last over the course of a lifetime. Capricorn is the last earth sign in the zodiac. It's the mountain goat. We build things to last, to sustain in Capricorn. So when we have a full moon with Cancer opposing Capricorn with a lot more emphasis than just the moon and the sun, we've got on the day of the full moon on the 3rd. So we've got a few days to prepare. But in the full moon, the sun is right in between, like in a conjunction with Venus and Mars. So it really emphasizes Capricorn, which to me, from my perspective, is kind of a nice gift. After all this whole season of like letting go and all this loss and emotion and the power move of Pisces, meaning surrender. Capricorn is fresh in the sense that it consolidates and it builds things to last. And if we are caring in Cancer and really looking at how we care for and whom we care for, and we're focused on building a legacy. It's like, what are you here? What is your soul here to build on your journey to planet Earth? That's more of the Capricorn question. It's legacy. How are you in stewardship to your mission on planet Earth? I mean, it's big questions. These are some pretty big questions. I love how astrology has us ask some pretty big questions. And so right now we're in Capricorn season for a good minute. You know, Capricorn season lasts until mid-January. And then we shift to Aquarius. And that means if we're in Capricorn season, what that means is that the sun is in that sign, is in the sign of Capricorn. So what's nice with the new year is that we do have that Capricorn, that push, that New Year's feel of building something, of making goals and going for our goals and having some support energetically in that from the cosmos. I say the cosmos and I point out and I also point in, because the idea behind all of this is that the cosmos are actually alive within and without, micro and macro. We're experiencing everything that's going on in the stars is going on within us, which at first is just mind-boggling. And then, at least for me, I'm curious about how this is for you. After I've started observing the trends astrologically and seeing how spot on they are in their timing and their relevancy, I then get excited when I have cues that tell me how to or how not to focus my energy for the greatest outcome. Capricorn loves that efficiency. It loves making sure that what you're building is real. So if we're having practices, that they're substantiated, that they really work. That's a Capricorn. We really want things to work and work well over time in the sign of Capricorn. So, this said, let's talk about practices I suggest this week. Practice number 1 always has to do with a contemplative set of questions. So for this week, I ask, and I'll ask myself, and I suggest that you ask yourself, what are you here to build? Do you know? And you might be, say you're like 16 listening to this. You might have no idea. I mean, you might have no idea and you're like 60, who knows? Wherever you're at, in knowing or not knowing what you're here to build, I invite the idea that you, because you exist, hold an essential part of the puzzle in the family of things. How do we know what we're here to build? To me, that's where Cancer comes in, because I ask questions in Cancer like, if I was fully nourished, if I knew I was loved, if I knew that who I was important and I was supported on my mission, then what would I build? I think that's a really important shift of focus right now. Not just from the head down, because that Capricorn can get pretty heady, but we integrate the belly and heart up. So if I'm not feeling good, resourced, taken care of, then my vagus nerve, just at a physiological level, my vagus nerve is sending signs up to my brain, not safe, not taken care of, which informs my thoughts. So if I'm brainstorming about what I'm here to bring the world, and in a real true Capricorn sense, what practical steps I can take between here and there, and I'm brainstorming when I'm not feeling loved, cherished, adored, my brain's going to come up with very different solutions. So during this time, right now, this week, I would say, how are you cared for? And when you're cared for, when you're nourished, that's the time. That's the time to think about the legacy, to feel into the legacy that you're here. What if you truly are an essential piece of the puzzle? How would you think and act about what you're here to bring then? Also, another piece about finding our purpose, it's really tied into our joy. What if your purpose, like what you're here to bring, really is tied in to your heart's desire, that which in a very childlike level for you, like what has brought you joy forever, like since you were born? To me, that piece is essential. Secondarily, if you could wave a magic wand, what gifts of service would you leave the world? Like what if you didn't have to think of practical ways to accomplish your desired outcome on the planet? What would you leave? Like what legacy would you leave? These are the questions for the week. So just ponder those. I'd ponder them in my journal, ponder them in talking to friends. Another question, if I wasn't burnt out, exhausted, tired, and grieving, I say that giggling, I show up here positive on purpose, and I'm also in this with y'all. Like I am experiencing some big ups and downs in life right now. And from those ups and downs, sometimes I feel exhausted, burnt out, overwhelmed. So again, I can't expect my biology to work at its optimum when I'm feeling that. So the first and foremost is to take care of that and then to daydream. Second practice I suggest is embodied deconstruction and reconstruction of deconstructing your last dreams and your last experiences and reconstructing what you might be here to build, but to do it symbolically through ritual. So this I'd suggest in ritual burial, but the burial it can take place in like anywhere. This is symbolic. So the steps would be, step 1, just walk around outside somewhere, ideally around something that's made of earth. So either just a little park or a place that has a tree you love or water that you love, and walk around and just ask for something, like a little stone on the ground you might find, or a feather, or a stick, ideally something that's not still alive. And you just gather some materials. Then you sit in a special place and honor that which you do not want to take forward, that which you lost last year perhaps, You honor it by sitting with it. This is about time. Capricorn's about time. And then Cancer, you're spending that time honoring how you feel about what's leaving. And then you let it deconstruct. So I like this because I can take these little objects that by themselves aren't imbued with my meaning, and I imbue them with my meaning through my breath. And then I arrange them and I rearrange them and I let them come apart on purpose, imagining that it's deconstructing that which is not here to stand the test of time. After that, I reconstruct through whimsy, through imagination, that which I would love to bring about in the world. And I do so through my breath, through my imagination, through as if I was like 5 years old and we still knew that imagination is very real and what I imagine is affecting reality. So then what I do is I'd imagine, okay, so if I could, I would build, and I just imagine as I move these little, whatever they are around, feathers or stones, and imagine. And then I say, either this or something better. And then I let it be. And I give it as an offering. That's it. That's practice number 2. Practice number 3 is to choose at least 3 different practices that authentically nurture you to help you release the past. This is a Cancer piece. Release resentment. Release old opinions that might not be true. Release anything that stops you from accepting what is. So release, reset, replenish. What are 3 at least activities that help you do this? This is very Cancerian. Release. So that's through breath. That's through movement. That's through what helps you release. I break a lot of sweats. Like I'll go do yoga or go in the sauna and release. I'll make sounds. I'll do guttural breathing on purpose just to release energy. Then I reset, and I can reset with as simple as I am. And I take a breath and smile, knowing and feeling and being in my own light. What helps you reset, and replenish? How are you nurtured and fed? I love salt baths. I love resting. I love cuddling with my dog. I love, what do you love? How are you nurtured naturally? Make sure this week it's how do you exhale and empty? How do you reset? And how do you replenish? And define at least one way for each of those to ideally put in your New Year's resolutions, because we need to care for this, our body, our mind, and our heart in order to steward, to bring that which we're here to bring to the earth in a way that takes that Capricorn day in, day out dedication over time. Okay, that's it for this week. I love being here with you. As always, please reach out. This whole year, 2026 is about democratizing my work, making it more accessible. So at this point, I'm accessible. Reach out whenever you'd like. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Until next week. Thank you for being a part of our community here at Our Waking Dream. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Fill my cup and let it overflow. Let it overflow with love.